All right, so here's the pant leg that I cut to be the same length. I am going to take my bias tape and pin it on. We open this seam up, and I try to start towards the back as I put my bias tape on, because we're gonna have a little lump of it, and on the side seam you would have all the layers from the seam and then all the layers of the bias tape. So I kind of try to spread that out a little bit. Just like you did before, you sandwich your pant leg into your bias tape, where before it was the pockets, now it's the bottom of your pant leg, and you pin it. And remember that if you paid attention and worked to get yours nice and even, it will lay in there nicely and pin. There's a little bit of stretch if you need it. And we're going to continue to pin all the way around, making sure that seam is still open. Oops. As I put it into my bias tape, it's always easier to repin than it is to rip. So pay attention to what you're doing. You will find it much easier to pin the bias tape to your hem because you've already done your pockets, both front and back. And those front pockets were definitely the hardest part to do your bias tape on, because you have that curve and the two separate pieces of fabric that hopefully you sewed together before you put bias tape on them. Make sure you don't get both halves of the pant leg in there. That would be sad. You'd find it before you got to the machine though. And really, honestly, the more pins, the better. I'm trying to space these out just to make this video shorter for you, because I want to show you how you finish this off. That's probably the biggest mistake as far as putting bias tape on the hem of your pants. So I want to make sure that I show you how we finish that. When you get to the other side seam, it's already open because you top stitched that outside leg open when you were doing that seam finish, that top stitching, to make it lay nice. So you don't have to worry about making sure it's still open, but you do want to make sure that it's all laying flat and not folded up on itself. All right, so I'm on to the last half of this pant leg, and it's at this point it's so exciting because you're so close to being done with your pajama pants. You really have seen them come together now, and you can see like, hey, I actually made this and I like them and they're fun. And some kids wear them tons and some kids don't, and some have given them to family members who wear them all the time. So I'm hoping that either you or someone in your family can enjoy the pants that you've made. I know the ones that have been made by me for myself or my house have all been worn a lot. Okay, we're almost there, around one leg. And again, you guys, I would pin one leg and then go back and do the other, just for the sake of not having as many pins as you're working at the sewing machine to accidentally stab yourself with, because none of us like to stab ourselves with pins. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna put a pin in here, and I'm to the end. So here's what happens. You can't just cut this and make it meet, because this will fray. So we cut it longer than, so I'm gonna cut to about here. Okay, so I got some sewing shears, and I just snip it. So there's my extra bias tape. Not even extra, actually, I'm gonna have to make more. I fold that under, so it's on the inside. And I'm gonna go ahead and finish pinning my bias tape down. If you need help with this part, let me know. I'm gonna pin where the two pieces overlap. I might have cut this a little bit longer than I needed to. I want all of my bias tape together in this pin. Okay. Oops. And if it's sideways, it's okay. It's just want them all together. Okay, go back, fold this under again. And pin it down because I want to have a nice finished off edge so that none of this will ravel as I wear them and launder them. So one more pin right here at the end. And then off to the sewing machine to sew around the end, just like you've done, you know, 4 other times.